So I'm beginning inside the box with Astro Boy. This is the first collection of the 1960s Astro Boy. So it's a pretty old one. Let's see. Looks like it's got reversible covers. So I guess we want to look at this in as much detail as we can. We'll turn this upside down so I can take a peek. Actually, it looks like the artwork is the same as the DVDs, isn't it? Because that is the front, and that is the reversible side. Now, I'm not going to say it's a bad series, but I am going to say that a little bit into it, I kind of felt like, well, like Astro Boy stepped over some sort of line that I'm not used to seeing stepped over, believe it or not, given today's age of anime vulgarness or vulgarity or whatever. I don't know. What I mean is that, like in the second episode, he plugs into another little boy robot's butt to recharge him. And this is the extras DVD. And we've got various information in here. That's set 1. And this is set 2. These are all dub only, I believe. I could double check. Maybe one of these days I will actually go through, watch it all, and get past that one part that had me concerned. You can see these are labeled 6 through 10, whereas the other ones were 1 through 5. So that's how you know this is the rest of that set. Part of the reason I want to watch is because these are very curious and interesting images. They look like they have a kind of creativeness that I definitely probably would have enjoyed at that time. And can probably still enjoy now, since sometimes that's just the way I think about this stuff when I rewatch it, or when I watch it. It's along the lines of trying to understand, what people were thinking when they made this. What were they talking about, referencing, trying to do? That sort of stuff can be rather fascinating at times. So what made those, the collection of up to World War II videos that I watched last week. That's a second extras DVD and another booklet with a ton of stuff in it. Now, I don't know that all the episodes were released there, but probably all the ones that were dubbed. I think the later Astro Boy series, this is the 1980s one, I think these ones got a little more thorough treatment. I have a sneaky suspicion GLaDOS wouldn't like running tests on Astro Boy. Like, maybe he could solve them without using the portal gun. These discs seem a little on the loose side. And put back into place. And we've got a collection of images and information once again. And last but not least on the Astro Boy line, we've got the 2000s Astro Boy series. Special feature remaking of Astro Boy. I can't help but think that should be the remaking of Astro Boy. Oh, I recognize that image. That means I think this one got re-released as a bunch of individuals. And I maybe saw a couple episodes of this one, but I don't remember much of what I saw. Maybe just little brief images here and there. Oh well. These are my collections of Astro Boy DVDs. And it might be thorough enough to be somewhat complete. I don't know. Next up, we've got Kodocha, which is short for Child's Toy. I believe the name of the show that Kana-chan is a child star on. I remember it kind of starting off to a somewhat awkward start, but then being just pretty consistently amusing after that. Probably around when it... I'm not quite sure how to describe what it did. Now, one problem is that these were brought here in one of the important songs and one used in the first op. Funimation did not get the rights to it, so there's some places in the Japanese dub where it's silent. It's still subtitled, but it's silent, unfortunately. And it uses, I believe, the second opening throughout the entire 13 DVD release of this series that happened. It'd be nice if more happened. These are more Funimation releases. I believe this is like 70. This is a 70-something episode series, and it only goes up to like 50. So it probably had one or two more seasons left to come out on DVD, but it had stopped. I should probably make sure none of the re-releases of this didn't go further. Once we get to the 13th and final DVD, we'll be able to find out. Let's see, 7. I'll just start one down here. And DVD 13, which ended at episode 51. That was just the DVD falling down on my shelf. Where one of these is probably supposed to go. In fact, this looks like... Oh, it could be either. But that's all 13 DVDs of Kodocha. Bought this one as it was coming out. And last but not least, we've got Macross. And along these lines, I kind of wish Macross Frontier would come out here, since Macross story wasn't bad. It was actually pretty good. And in fact, there was a US movie version of it called Meet Dave, I think, starring Eddie Murphy. I call it a US version of, but it's not exactly. There's no point in looking on the inside of these. They're just blank. But we got Macross, and some of you may have seen Macross before, or the characters, in the form of Robotech. Along those lines, I do have something else to show just after I show the rest of the stuff that goes officially under the title Macross. We got Macross the Movie 2, or Macross 2 the movie. I don't know what exactly that is. I just bought it because it's more Macross, and I bumped the camera, and we've got Macross Plus Movie Edition, as well as the OVA edition. Parts 1 and 2, and 3 and 4. It has some booklets to them. I bet this one does too. It's just right here. I feel kind of heavy too. So, for those of you who maybe never saw Macross, or maybe remember Robotech very nicely, I generally also show this other set that was released at the same time with Macross by ADV. These are subtitled only. Macross has dub. These don't. And this would be Southern Cross and Genesis Climber Mosquita. And these two series, along with the first Macross, were combined to form what here in the US was known as Robotech. So we have those. It's just a simple stacked DVD. Well, not stacked, but simple discs. And then we got Genesis Climber Mosquita. I really need to see Southern Cross at some point, since I've seen Macross and Genesis Climber Mosquita, but not Southern Cross. And there we go. That's Macross stuff, and stuff that's tied to Macross because of history. Now, I suppose I could buy Robotech The Shadow Chronicles, or maybe just Robotech itself. The trick being, well, I'll probably get Robotech at some point, and then I'll get the Robotech Shadow Chronicles. But it's my understanding that Shadow Chronicles was actually made here in the U.S. for the U.S., or maybe contracted out to Japan for airing in the U.S., which would have meant that it was produced by U.S. people for U.S. people. Sort of like how The Simpsons isn't Korean because it's animated in Korea. The writing for The Simpsons probably happens here in the U.S., and the intended audience is here in the U.S., so whatever. But that's Macross, a nice complicated series in terms of heritage, and yeah.